Hello, good morning, dear students. Today, I am going to discuss about instrumental methods of analysis and in module 5. Before that, I would like to give some introduction and I would like to make you to recapitulate your previous studies. You already come across with the several branches of chemistry like inorganic, organic, analytical, okay, and physical chemistry. Now, the present today's discussion goes with analytical chemistry. What is analytical chemistry? It is the method of determining the chemical composition of samples of matter. Then what are all the chemical methods available to do this analysis, determination of chemical composition of sample matter? So that can be answered by these two techniques. Then one is qualitative method of analysis and quantitative method of analysis. What is qualitative method of analysis? It is the process of identification of particular atomic or molecular or functional groups present in the sample under analysis, analyte under analysis. It means you are just telling what are all the constituent present in it. The next one is quantitative method. It means how much that quantity is present in it is answered by this technique, quantitative method. Here it is defined as the amount of a particular substance or substances present in the given amount of sample under analysis. So what are all the further classification for this chemical methods of analysis? One is classical methods we conventionally follow, that is conventional methods or classical methods. Here it includes separation of analytes by precipitation, extraction, distillation, qualitative and quantitative analysis, volumetric analysis, etc. And the next one is instrumental methods of analysis. Before going to this instrumental methods of analysis, I would like to give some introduction about this instrumental methods of analysis. Why actually we go for instrumental methods of analysis? The application of instrumentation or instrumental methods of analysis in chemical analysis is wide ranging in various fields of pure and applied sciences. This includes analysis of geochemical composition, new chemical substances, pollutants, engine oils, body fluids in humans and animals for diagnosis of diseases, also in food industries, food processing industries, drug manufacturing industries, water quality analysis, etc. All these involve instrumentation because it is having much impact in the analysis we follow compared to conventional methods. The information we obtained based on the report which is obtained from these instrumental methods of analysis is quite useful in solving real-time problems of various fields, what I already mentioned. Why? Because it is due to their accuracy and ease of analysis of the sample. Even if the sample you are taking, if it is present in smaller quantity and also having lesser concentration, lower concentration. The instrumental methods of analysis fall into three principal categories. One is electroanalytical method, spectroscopic methods, and chromatographic methods. Now in our syllabus, we are having only two aspects of this instrumental analysis, that is electroanalytical and spectroscopic technique. Let us see what is instrumental methods of analysis. So this instrumental methods of analysis is defined as it uses a simple or advanced instrument to measure the physical quantities of the analyte by relating the concentration with light absorption, fluorescence, or conductivity or potential. As I already mentioned, instrumental methods of analysis can be classified into two methods here as far as our syllabus is concerned. Electrical method. This involves the measurement of current or voltage or resistance in relation to the concentration of a certain species present in solution. Examples: potentiometric, conductometric methods, etc. And next one is optical method. So this optical methods is totally based on how the sample responds or acts towards the light radiation or electromagnetic radiation. Examples: colorimetry, atomic absorption spectroscopy, and flame photometry. Let us see what are the advantages of these instrumental methods of analysis. Method is much faster than the chemical methods because the analysis can be conducted in very short span of time compared to conventional methods of analysis. It requires small quantities of analyte even if it is present in smaller concentration. If the amount of sample to be analyzed, if it is present in smaller amount and also in smaller concentration, even that also can be taken for this analysis. And they give accurate results compared to the conventional methods of analysis. There lot of errors may encounter with respect to the person who is doing the experiment and your solution preparation and all those. Okay, personal error, human error. Okay, all those will be uh, coming over there, because in titration, if you just recall, even after the endpoint has arrived, you have added excess burette solution titrant to your conical flask. You might have noticed that we have told it in between during your experiments. It means they're noticing the endpoint and all due to your sensitivity of eye and your perception of change in endpoint and all, it may give to inaccuracy. So here you will get accurate results. Though it is having the advantages, it is also having some disadvantages. Let us see. These instruments used are expensive compared to your conventional methods of analysis. There you are using burette, pipette, conical flask, etc. They are not that much expensive. Your instruments are quite expensive. And here the concentration range is limited. It means you cannot take too high concentration and you cannot take too low concentration, which is beyond the sensitivity of the instrument. It means it should be in the working range of concentration. And here specialized training is needed for the operation. Why? Because the instrument need to be kept calibrated and kept readily available for your analysis at any point of time. For all those things, it requires special training with respect to the handling of the instrument, with respect to the making this sensitivity of the instrument correct or not and all. For that it requires. Okay. This is about the advantages and disadvantages of instrumental methods of analysis. Now under this, as we already come across, two types of instrumentation methods of analysis. One is electrical method, optical method. Now let us now look into the electrical measurement methods of instrumental methods of analysis. Under that, the conductometry is the first topic. What is conductometry? Conductometry is an electrochemical method of analysis based on the measurement of resistance or conductance of an electrolytic solution. Here, underline this electrolytic solution. It means the solution you are taking, it must conduct electricity. Then only you can take for this conductometric method of analysis. Let us look into some of the basics behind this conductometry. You all are already familiar with this term called conductance. What is conductance? It is defined as the reciprocal of resistance, that is C equal to 1 by R. It is expressed in Ohm inverse or Siemens. Let us look into the theory behind this conductometry. Here, the conductance of the solution is explained by considering Ohm's law. You are already familiar with this Ohm's law. Just recall back what it states. It states that the current flowing through the conductor is directly proportional to voltage and inversely proportional to the resistance. That is E equal to IR. Okay. The resistance of any conductor is directly proportional to the length of the conductor and inversely proportional to the area of cross section of the conductor. Hence, R equal to L S into L divided by A. What is this S? S stands for specific resistance. What is this L? Length of the conductor. What is this A? A is area of cross section of the conductor. Okay. Now, as you said, conductance is reciprocal of resistance. That is why if you take reciprocal of this 1 by R, then the whole term gets reversed. Okay, numerator goes to denominator, denominator comes to numerator. 1 by r, that is equal to 1 by s. This 1 by s is replaced with the term called k. It is kappa. It is look like a, it is the symbol in Greek alphabet, 10th Greek letter, that is kappa, K-A-P-P-A. So that is equal to k into a into divided by L. K into A divided by L. What is this? K stands for specific conductance. A is area of cross section divided by L is length of the conductor, which is expressed in Siemens per meter. Or if you say this K is kappa, symbol is specific conductance, then how many types of conductance are there? There are mainly three types of conductance, namely specific conductance, equivalent conductance, and molar conductance. What is this specific conductance? It is the conductance of the solution. It is the conductance of the solution which is placed between two electrodes of area 1 centimeter square, and they are separated by 1 centimeter distance apart. I'll repeat. Specific conductance is defined as the conductance of the solution, electrolytic solution. Again, it is electrolytic solution which is placed between two electrodes of each area of cross section 1 centimeter square and 1 centimeter distance apart. That is called as specific conductance. Then let us see what is the other type, equivalent conductance. What is this equivalent conductance? Equivalent conductance is defined as the conductance of the electrolytic solution containing 1 gram equivalent of solute is placed between two electrodes of area 1 centimeter square and 1 centimeter distance apart. That is called as equivalent conductance, which is given by the symbol lambda. Then other one is molar conductance. What is molar conductance? Is the conductance of the electrolytic solution. Again, solution means it should be electrically conducting solution, electrolytic solution containing 1 gram molecular weight. 1 gram molecular weight of solute is placed between two electrodes of area 1 centimeter square and 1 centimeter distance apart. Here, the conductivity depends on mobility of the ion, number of the ions, charge of the ions, and size of the ions, and also temperature. In solution, all these factors are important. We will be carrying out a conductometric titration. Here, conductometric titration is a titration which is used to measure the amount of the analyte present in it in the given solution by measuring, right? Here you should understand, by measuring the change in the conductance value as the function of the volume of titrant added. It means how much titrant you are adding from the burette into your beaker containing this solution. So there it leads to change in conductance. So that is what the basis behind this conductometric titration. In conductometric titrations, ions of a particular kind conductance are replaced by ions of different conductance. It means initially one particular kind of conductance possessing ions will be there. When you keep on adding the titrant from the burette, then what happens? Those ions already present, they will be replaced with ions of different kind, different conductance present in your titrant. Okay. So conductance measurements are used to determine the equivalence point or end point of acid-base titration, where there is a sudden change in conductance of the solution takes place after the equivalence point. It means end point. In general sense, we say end point, no, that is equivalence point. The equivalence point is determined by graphical method by plotting conductance along y-axis and the titer values, that is volume of titrant you are adding, along x-axis. Let us see the instrumentation. This instrumentation contains the conductivity meter. This is what you are seeing, conductivity meter. It is a device you use to measure the conductance, and it contains two electrodes. Okay, one is like what I have shown here. This is one electrode, this is another electrode. Both are made up of platinum, two platinum electrodes, each of unit having unit cross section, area of cross section, and they are placed at 1 centimeter distance apart. Okay, these will be dipped in the solution where you need to find out the concentration, and these electrode terminals are connected with the conductivity meter. Okay, and the titrant what you are taking in the burette, that is to be filled. Okay, and whatever the solution you are taking in the analysis, that need to be taken in the small beaker, appropriate volume capacity. Okay, titrant is taken in the burette and analyte is taken in the beaker, that is your acid or mixture of acids. It may be HCl, acetic acid with sodium hydroxide, or HCl with sodium hydroxide, or weak acid, that is acetic acid with sodium hydroxide. In all the cases, the method of noting the conductance need to be followed. What is that? When the moment you dip the conductivity cell either in any of the single acid or mixture of acids, you need to note down the initial reading first. That you need to record it. It means zero addition reading. Then after every incremental addition of 0.5 ml into your analyte solution taken in the beaker, it need to be stirred well. How it need to be stirred well? By keeping one straw. With the help of gentle blowing, you need to mix just whenever you blow it, like a bubbles it comes. So there it will mix the analyte solution and the titrant you are adding from the burette. It will mix together. Then only you need to note down the reading. It means after every addition, you need to blow the solution. It means you need to mix the solution thoroughly. Then only whatever the rise in conductance or decrease in conductance, you need to note down. Okay, this need to be followed in all the cases, whether it is mixture of acids or single acid, whatever it is. This is the method you need to follow in conductometric titration, which is applicable for your combination. What I am going to discuss now, just after this, that is strong acid, HCl, weak acid, that is acetic acid with sodium hydroxide. And the next combination is HCl with sodium hydroxide. And the last third one combination is weak acid with sodium hydroxide. In all these cases, this need to be followed. This is the instrumentation. Let us look into the example under this is mixture of strong acid, weak acid with a strong base. It means using this conductivity measurement, that conductometric measurements, what are all the types of titration you can carry out? That is listed in our syllabus. The first one is mixture of strong acid, weak acid with strong base. Remaining two are there. I will take up after this is over. Now here, in order to measure the conductance, in order to carry out this titration, you need to take the mixture of acids like HCl and acetic acid in beaker, how it is shown earlier. So it need to be taken in beaker, mixture of these two acids, and the burette is filled with sodium hydroxide. Then initially, when the moment you dip that conductivity cell containing two platinum electrodes, which is embedded inside the glass, okay, that after dipping that, so you need to note down the initial reading. So now after adding the burette solution by incremental addition of 0.5 or 0.25 according to your concentration basis, so what happens here is initially the conductance starts initially decreasing. Why it decreases? You can see the graph here. So conductance here in the beginning, it means without addition of your burette solution, that is zero reading. Okay, zero. How much conductance you are getting for the pure HCl and acetic acid. Okay, so there you will be getting the maximum conductance. Now you can see the conductance once you add the burette solution, that is for example 0.25 or zero 0.5. So conductance is coming, then 1 ml conductance is coming down, then 1.5 conductance, then like this conductance is decreasing. Why it is decreasing? The conductance is decreasing due to the replacement of highly mobile H plus ion with the less mobile Na plus ions. It means you are adding NaOH now. In this NaOH, this OH minus ion reacts with H plus ion, highly mobile H plus ion, and they will undergo formation of the water molecule. As a result, here the left out is Na plus. This is less mobile compared to OH plus. That is why the conductance initially decreases and it reaches a minimum. You can see here. it reaches a minimum value. What is this indication? See, since you have taken two acids, HCl and acetic acid, among these, which one is strong and which one is weak is HCl is strong acid. That means strong electrolyte. Acetic acid is weak electrolyte. Now, whichever is strong, that is going to react first. In both the cases, H plus is common, but here this one is undergoing reaction first. That is why it is carried out till first neutralization point. It means it reaches a minimum. That reaches a minimum means what is the inference? It means all your H plus HCl is totally neutralized. All your highly mobile H plus ion furnished by HCl is totally neutralized. No more H plus ion from the HCl side. Now after this first neutralization point is over, now since you are adding the burette solution from the burette, that is NaOH from the burette, what happens? Conductance is moderately, slightly rising. Why it is slightly rising? Due to the formation of salt. Or which salt? See, since you have taken stick acid, so when you are going to add sodium hydroxide, in the same one, after the HCl is over, this acetic acid is start reacting because you have taken together. So it is going to form the acetic acetic acid salt, that is sodium acetate, until the second neutralization. Here the conductance value is slowly rising, moderately rising. Why? Because due to the common ion effect of sodium acetate, during the titration. Where common ion effect? Here CH3COO minus is there of this sodium salt, that is sodium acetate, and this acetate ion furnished acetate ion of this acetic acid is also there. So these two will be under common ion effect, okay, during the titration. So the dissociation of acetic acid is suppressed due to the formation of this salt. Consequently, the conductivity increases as the conducting power of the sodium acetate is more than that of the feebly ionized acetic acid. I'll repeat. Here, why the conductivity is moderately rising? It is because of the conductivity increases as the conducting power of the sodium acetate is more than that of the feebly ionized acetic acid. So this curvature is not so marked in this case. It means it is not showing steep increase. Up to here, it over. It means this is what is called as second neutralization point. What is mean by the second neutralization? Means all your acetic acid is totally neutralized by sodium hydroxide. Then afterwards, after this rise has happened, again you have started you have started continuing the titration with the same incremental addition 0.5, 0.5. Now it is rising. Why it is rising? See, here further addition after this neutralization, second neutralization point is over. So here the further addition of NaOH increasing the highly mobile OH minus ions. Hence, conductivity is rising rapidly. Conductivity is increasing rapidly. That is the reason. Okay. So this is the experimental part of it. The same is again, it is split in the form of different parts of this graph. HCl, it is due to HCl. They may ask why, what is the reason for this trend of this decrease in conductance? Why this is less conductivity rising, moderate conductivity rising? Then again, why it is rising more? Because this HCl, H plus and OH minus are almost having comparable mobility. How the way it has come down, it starts rising. See how the way it has come down, it starts rising. So they will be having highly mobile OH minus ion. Hence conductivity is rapidly rising. Let us see the calculation part of it. Here in this calculation from the graph, after you plotting the graph with this maximum points taking, okay, one set of points with this straight line, another set of points with this straight line, another set of points with this straight line. All straight line must intersect at each other. So here V1 stands for volume of NaOH required for neutralization of your HCl, and V2 is inclusive of both HCl and acetic acid, because see, from 0 to here one, how much some volume is there, from here V1 onward some volume is there, so it is inclusive. It means in order to know the volume of sodium hydroxide required for the neutralization of acetic acid, you must subtract this V2 minus V1. Okay, next, that is what is shown in the calculation. Here the strength of NaOH, it is already taken, known volume, known concentration you have taken. So known concentration you need to mention it here. So volume of acid mixture taken, it is 50 ml. It is containing both. See, look at this. Acid mixture means it contains both HCl and acetic acid. And volume of NaOH required for neutralization of HCl, that is V1 ml. That is what I already shown in the graph in the previous slide. Okay, then volume of NaOH required for neutralization of both HCl and acetic acid, it is inclusive. I mentioned, no? It is V1 and V2, both will be there, both. Okay. Here, volume of NaOH required to neutralize only acetic acid. Only acetic acid, if you want to take, that is V2 minus V1. V2 minus V1. Okay. Then you need to separately calculate the strength of both HCl, that is how much concentration of HCl is present in your 50 ml, how much concentration of acetic acid present in your 50 ml. Individually you need to calculate. For that, this is the calculation part. Strength of HCl equal to NHCl. It is very simple. N1V1 equal to N2V2. It is NV of HCl, NV of sodium hydroxide. See here, a normality of HCl need to be calculated. Normality of sodium hydroxide is known to you, and this now volume of sodium hydroxide you can get it from the graph. First equivalence point, then divided by volume of acid mixture present, that is 50 ml you have taken. So calculate this, you will get the normality. Then normality multiplied by its equivalent weight, it gives the amount weight of HCl present in 1 dm cube, in 1 liter of the solution. That is what the calculation for this HCl. The next, in the similar way, the strength of acetic acid is calculated. That is NCH3COOH equal to, again, NNaOH, okay, VNaOH, that is V2 minus V1. Why you are subtracting? Again, if you take V2, it is inclusive of both HCl and acetic acid. If you want to calculate acetic acid only, then V2 minus V1, you need to do it, multiplied by normality divided by volume of acetic acid present in the mixture, that is also again 50 ml only. Though you have taken two acids together, what is the total volume? Total volume stands same now. 50 ml here also 50 ml, here also 50 ml. That is what you are dividing. Now it gives the normality of acetic acid. Then normality of acetic acid multiplied by equivalent weight of acetic acid, it gives the amount of acetic acid present in it. Norm equivalent weight is given 60 here, and here it is 36.5 for HCl. So individually you need to report the how much amount of HCl and acetic acid present in the given acid mixture. Okay, here 50 ml is there, but you are calculating for 1000 ml. In 1000 ml, how much amount of HCl is present, acetic acid is present. You have calculated. That is the end of the calculation. So this discussion is there for theory as well as lab. Same experiment you are going to perform in part A, that is instrumental methods of analysis. Next combination, I already mentioned, the one combination is over, that is a strong acid, weak acid with strong base. Now it is strong acid with strong base. Now if you subtract one among the previous one, that gives this one, that is strong acid, strong base. Now here consider the titration of HCl with NaOH. It means in the beaker you need to take HCl solution alone. Okay, then here NaOH you have taken in the burette. Now here again, when you keep on adding the solution from the burette, that is first initially we will note down the initial conductance, that is as usual it need to extend here. Okay, zero volume means zero addition of sodium hydroxide. How much conductance you are getting, that you have recorded. Then sequentially 0.5, 1, 1.5, like this incremental addition you keep on adding. So again, the conductance keeps decreasing. Why it is decreasing till equivalence point? Because due to the replacement of highly mobile H plus ions by OH minus ions. It means H plus OH minus reacts with they react together. It gives the water molecule. Then what is left out? NaCl. NaCl, among this NaCl, Na plus, it is less mobile in nature. Okay, mobility is less. Now again after this equivalence point it has reached minimum, again you will be continuing. For example, 3 ml you added, 3.5, 4 like 4.5 like this you have added. So it is rising. Why it is rising? Because the after the equivalence point is arrived, so the increase in concentration of OH minus is taking place. As a result of increase in concentration of highly mobile OH minus ion, conductivity is rising. Okay, so that is why you are getting the points like this. If you draw one set of points with this straight line, another set of points with this another straight line intersecting, from the intersection it gives the volume of NaOH required for neutralization of your HCl. That is what you have tabulated in this tabular column. Then next is calculation. Again, in the previous first one case you have taken HCl with acetic acid. Here only you are calculating for HCl, volume of sodium hydroxide, strength of sodium hydroxide. You need to carry forward. You need to take some standard, concentration is given because it is a standard solution given by the teachers. Okay, volume of acid 50 ml you have taken. Volume of NaOH required to neutralize your HCl, that is VML. It is from the graph. This is what is seen in the graph, that is VML, that is what equivalence point. Okay, then you need to calculate this separately for this HCl, normality of HCl. As usual, it is calculated normality multiplied by volume divided by 50. It gives the concentration of HCl multiplied by equivalent weight 36.5. It gives the amount of HCl present in 1000 ml of your solution, HCl solution. Next is another case, that is weak acid with strong base. Here again considering the acetic acid with NaOH, that is CH3COOH and NaOH. Again part of the first case what I discussed. In this titration also you need to take again acetic acid 50 ml in the beaker, and you need to fill the burette with the NaOH, dip the conductivity cell, then you keep on adding the NaOH solution. So when you keep on before addition, again as usual it is understood, you need to note down the zero addition reading like this, what you have seen here. Okay, then when you keep on adding the incremental addition of sodium hydroxide 0.5, 0.5, 0.5 like this, 0.51, 1.5 like this. So conductivity is rising slowly. Again, why it is rising slowly? It is due to the common ion effect of sodium acetate in this one, acetate ion of the sodium acetate and acetate ion of the acetic acid. Okay, during the titration. So due to the common ion effect of this sodium acetate during the titration, the dissociation of acetic acid is suppressed because it cannot ionize completely due to the presence of this common ion effect. Okay, consequently the conductivity is slowly rising, moderately rising. Okay, conducting power of the sodium acetate is more than that of acetic acid. So that is why you will be getting the moderate increase. Then after this moderate increase is over, then after this again you have continued the titration by addition of 0.5 incremental addition. For example, here you might have got at 3.5, then 4.5, then 5.5 like this you have added. So it is rising, conductivity is rising. Why it is rising? Because the introduction of the highly mobile OH minus ions. Now you need to draw all this, mark all these points along this graph. Okay, on this graph by taking conductivity along y-axis, volume along x-axis, it gives the one set of points with this straight line, another set, both should intersect. From the intersection, you will be plotting, you will be drawing one more line to this ordinate. So that gives the how much amount of how much volume of sodium hydroxide required for neutralization of your acetic acid can be calculated. This is what the tabular column to write the reading. Then next is calculation as usual. Strength of concentration of sodium hydroxide NaOH is given. Volume of acid pipetted, it is 50 ml you have taken. Then calculate the concentration of acetic acid using this formula. If you multiply the normality of this acetic acid with equivalent weight, that is 60, it gives so much grams per dm cube. It means in 1 liter how much acetic acid is present, that can be calculated. Okay, so that completes the 3 combination. First one is strong acid, weak acid with strong base. Next is strong acid with a strong base. Next is weak acid with a strong base. Like this, three combination you need to learn for this theory part. Okay, as far as the laboratory part is concerned, the first one is there. Let us see the applications of conductometry. This is used to check the pollution in lakes as well as rivers, to what extent the pollution is there. It is also used to check the alkalinity of fresh water. Salinity of seawater can also be determined by this method. Salinity means how much salt content, salty nature. It is used to trace antibiotics that finds application in pharmaceutical industries. It is used for tracing microorganism in food microbiology. That is another part of study. It is used to check the solubility of sparingly soluble salts. And purity of distilled water and deionized water can be determined, to what extent water is having the purity. If salt content is still present, then it leads to, it can be checked by conductivity value changes. Conductivity value will be rising. The determination of deuterium content in deuterium water mixture. Then determination of accelerators used in rubber processing. What are these accelerators? These are chemical substances added to rubber compound in order to increase the speed of vulcanization, and it is permitting the vulcanization process to take place at lower temperature with greater efficiency. What is this vulcanization? It is the process of heating rubber with sulfur and accelerator. So as a result of addition of these accelerators, this vulcanization process of rubber can be carried out at 140 degrees centigrade to 160 degrees centigrade to improve the quality of rubber. So that completes the discussion on conductometry.